Red and yellow, black and white, we are precious in his sight. Jesus loves the little children of the world. So that's what I grew up with, sing that song, and it's so true because, Jesus is not the one that made everybody start looking at colors. And it doesn't even matter about colors, I don't think. So if you go to some of the African countries, you have tribes, and both tribes are black, but they still hate one another. Why is that? It's because they have differences. Everybody's different. And me having one parent that's Mexican, the other parent that's white, it's obvious they're different, but I love both sides. I mean, equally. They're just so different, but they're so awesome, right? There's so many different things you can get from each side. So today I read an article, and it's talking about Coca-Cola, what they're rolling out, and some of their training, where it says white people need to try to be less white. Yep, you heard me. Try to be less white. This is what's wrong right now with America. We take all these different things. If you look at all of our history, we have history because when you have history, you go to the history books. I remember the stuff I learned when I was in history. We learned about things about all the way back to the Roman times. Things that just stick out to you, like, all the World War I, World War II. Let me tell you about World War II. If you bring up Nazis to a lot of the Germans nowadays, they don't like to hear that side of it because it's not a time they're not proud of. Just like in the U.S., slavery, it's not something we're proud of. I hate the fact that we have slavery here, but we have slavery all throughout the world, still to this day. So the big part is that as things are moving forward, I've seen changes. If you don't think there's change going on, is it where it needs to be exactly? No. And I don't know if it ever will be, because you always have those people that are off. They're not going to be aligned with everyone else. But I know that people in the U.S. now are more open to different things. I mean, think about this. We've talked on several occasions. There's all kinds of stuff about multiple genders and things. As far as I'm concerned, there's male and female, but they're talking about there's 64 different genders. That's crazy. Just talk about being open-minded. This is the time that things have changed so much that people are more open to things. I know that there's a lot more interracial marriages, things like that, but I feel like, and this is my opinion, I feel like that there's been so much, so many things subjected to us, just put into play, that it's caused more division than it has, unification. I just don't see how we're being united as a country when people keep throwing things in there to divide us. Be less white. They talk about white privilege. I think that's a word that's thrown around a lot just so that people can say that it's used. I mean, what about black privilege and brown privilege? Because I'll give you an example. On my Mexican side, one of my cousins has, her email is Beaner Girl. Now, if you had somebody call themselves Beaner Girl on a white side, some people would be up in arms. But because she's Mexican, or part Mexican, it's allowed, right? Same thing with black privilege. You're like, black privilege? You're just making stuff up. Just like white privilege, you're just making that up. You're just saying, like, because you're white, you're privileged in certain areas. Same way, like, as a black man or woman, if you have, it's in today's world, you're allowed to say the N-word. Are you kidding me? Let me tell you what that word means. It really means, if you look it up back in the day and everything, that talks about ignorant, because that's why they, the slaves, they didn't want to let them read, become smarter, because they keep them ignorant, because that way they could have control over them. If they can't read and write and things like that, then they have more control. So the N-word, which we have turned around just very derogatory, is terrible, terrible word. I would never use that word. And people, it just flows off their lips. how does a society or a culture, okay, for a word that's so terrible, now black men and women can use this word as a, hey, what's up? You know, come on. Why is it okay for them to say that when that is such a bad word? That's what you call black privilege. Because if I walked down the street and I were to call one of my friends that, I would be ridiculed, if not whooped or whatever. I mean, you get killed for that kind of thing. We talk about different areas, like people like, well, blacks or Mexicans or whatever cannot go into this neighborhood because it's uppity white. Where on the reverse of that, why are we not allowed to go into, you know, I've had friends that really close friends of mine, black friends, like, hey, if you're out there at this time of night, don't go in this neighborhood because you're the wrong tone. Why? Why is it a double stand? It's just everything's like, well, everyone's prejudiced. Well, if you were not prejudiced on the other side, if someone, a minority, is not prejudiced of a white person, then why did that person have to feel fear for their life or their safety? Can y'all tell me that? And I'm asking from both sides. I'm asking from whites, blacks, Mexicans, Asians. It doesn't matter. I want to know, why is it that has this narrative that's been spun turned into something that's so stupid? And I don't want to see people that are white friends of mine like, yeah, you told them. No, it ain't about that. It ain't about me telling anybody. I'm asking from all sides, red, yellow, black, and white. What is it that one group of people is allowed to say something and the other group is not? Because if it's not right for one, it shouldn't be right for any. If I'm wrong, you tell me. But you know I'm right in this regard. There's no reason that one person should be allowed to say something when another person is not, just because of the color of their skin. Quit trying to divide our country. Our country is great. And I have friends of all shades, colors, and from all different backgrounds. I love each of them. And I'm telling you, the best part about those people is they're different. If they're all the same, it's boring. I like to learn about their culture and their background, what traditions they had at Christmas, what traditions they did growing up. Those are important to me. It's what makes me. We can't lose our history. We can't lose our traditions. Quit trying to cancel out everything. Let's, without getting into political narrative, let's make this country as great as it can be, because we are America. We're the United States. We have united in our name, so it's time to unite. We got to stay away from all this bullcrap that sucks us in. So I'm saying from here forward, let's quit talking about privilege. We're all privileged. We're privileged to live in the United States. So let's act like it. Come together, people. It's time. Ramblin' Man, out.